The year 2018 BC. Yeah, before COVID. And, well, mobile phones are booming. Huawei have released the Mate 20, a near bezel-less smartphone with fantastic cameras. LG are still around and they've released their latest G7 ThinQ. Again, near bezel-less, not as good cameras, but that display. And then the big boy, the iPhone XS Max. For my money, one of the best smartphones released in the last 10 years. And again, a near bezel-less, camera-focused, outstanding display smartphone. And then there's Red. Yes, this is the first and, might I say, only mobile phone release from the high-end camera company Red. The hydrogen one is, well, let's talk. Now, I can't actually explain why I wanted to purchase this 5-year-old device, but I did. I'm going to add it to the Average Dad Phone Museum, that's for sure. And you might think this video is 10 minutes of me just slamming the device. Well, after using it for a couple of days now, I've got 3 or 4 actually very, very good points about this device. So let's start with the first really, really good experience, and that's the unboxing. In years past 2018, we have suffered from really poor unboxing experience which come with the phone and a cable. If you're very, very lucky, in rare occasions you'll get a charging brick. Well, the Red Hydrogen one had a hefty price tag. However, at least they tried to make the unboxing experience nice. Now, this was a day one device, and what that essentially means was this was like a limited edition, select few got this special unboxing pack. We'll talk about the issues that came with this and the titanium variant and others, but for now, let's just enjoy the unboxing experience. So you get a special card from the owner himself. We'll call him Jim. I'll Google it. I'll put his name up if you even care. But ultimately, it tells you that you're part of the Red family now. And included in the box is a 128 gigabyte, yes, a 128 gigabyte memory card, an SD card, because yes, the phone has an SD card slot. You will also see that in here is a special Red coin. Now, what this does, I have no idea. But shout out to the person I bought this from on eBay, because the phone is immaculate. I believe basically unused. And I'll tell you why it's potentially unused in a second. So that's the coin. And then if we just lift up this little piece, you're presented with a box in a box, the phone. Let's just get rid of that box. And now we have, again, a super premium, this desk is needing a dust, a super premium hydrogen branded, Red branded with, I mean, it's overkill, but this is like not just embossed, this is a proper metal or plastic icon on the top of the box, and it's magnetic as well. So hydrogen on one side and hydrogen on the other. So if we just open up the box, again, here you can see the phone still with all its protective film. I will be honest though, I have booted up this phone, set up the phone for use and review. So we'll just take this off. We all love a good unpeeling. And then again, the front has its own, I believe, yeah, there's a little peel down here. So there we have, that's the peels off this. Yeah, we'll talk about other good points because there are a few good points about this device, but unboxing wise, stunning. And it's not finished there, because in here you have your usual leaflets, but here it is, a Red branded 33 watt charger, a Red branded charging cable, USB-C to USB-C. Just, yeah, over and above as far as the unboxing experience. So, first good point. And the good experience doesn't end there. Once you've unboxed the device and you feel it in the hand, it's, well, certainly one of the heaviest phones I've ever felt. I mean, that includes foldables. This is well over 300 grams, folks. But that's because the build quality, I'm not sure I've ever seen such great build quality in a flagship phone. Yes, we all know that the rugged tank phones are going to be more durable, but for a flagship phone with a very flagship price that we will talk about soon, the carbon fiber, the aluminium, the steel, it's a really, really solid feeling device. I mean, this could do some damage if you threw it at someone's head. And then going beyond the build quality, and I'm aware I might be in the minority here, I think design-wise, this looks incredible, especially from the rear. Now, we will turn it round and show you the front in a second, but just focusing on the rear, you know I love a circular, centralized rear camera hump, and this has it. We'll talk about the camera setup soon. But I love this ribbed feeling on the back. I love the soft carbon fiber feel. And then the edges, the grippiness, there are literally finger grips on each side. So this is not slipping out your hand. I love the way that the fingerprint and power button sensor is sunken in. So you're never going to mistakenly try and put the volume up or hit the wrong button. Your finger just neatly rests to unlock and lock the device. And the volume buttons are actually on the other side. They get their own designated finger slot for volume up and down. And there's a special customizable button down at the bottom. Now, if you press and hold this for long, for a second or two, you're going to get taken into the camera. And in there is where the 4-view magic / 3D photos and videos magic happens. Now, I say magic with a pinch of salt because it's not magic or good. But we're only focusing on the good points. So build quality, in my opinion, design, and certainly unboxing. And believe it or not, using the device, there is one particular element, I might even say two particular elements, that are good on this device. The main one is the haptics. The vibration motors in this are outstanding. They don't feel cheap. They actually feel really premium. I obviously can't portray this over a YouTube video. You're just going to have to take my word for it. But the haptic touch for system navigation, the call and notification vibrations, yeah, some of the best haptics certainly I've ever experienced up until probably this year. And then the other one that I am going to say is good. Please keep in mind, this is a 2018 smartphone. The spatial 3D sound or 4D sound, they call it. Essentially, there's big speakers at the top and bottom of this phone, giving you a stereo sound. And I think the speakers sound really good. No, they are not 2023 or 2024 flagship level speakers or ROG gaming phone quality. But for 2018, I'm really impressed with the speakers on here. Now, unfortunately, that is kind of where the good points finish and then reality sets in. Let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room here. and probably the reason why I have this device almost unused in all its packaging and cellophane wrapping. It was the price. The price for the Red Hydrogen 1 on release in 2018 was $1,300. And if you really hated money, you could get the $1,600 titanium version. And that, folks, is where this phone comes in. I can almost guarantee that this phone has been almost unused because it was a freebie. Yes, you heard me correctly. Back in November of 2018, people had pre-ordered the Hydrogen 1 in aluminium and in titanium. The titanium one was delayed. So Red, and this is a really cool thing that Red done, they didn't know that this phone was going to ultimately flop and die. So at the time when they done this, hats off, they sent all of the people that ordered a titanium version the aluminium one for free. Yes, if you ordered the titanium one for $1,600, you essentially got the aluminium one, and then the titanium one was released later on, just like 2 months later, you did get the titanium. So hats off to Red, you were getting two phones for almost the price of one. And that's why there are actually, if you look on eBay, quite a few listings of basically new in-box aluminium versions, because those poor people spent $1,600 on a titanium version. And what's really funny is when you think about that, 5 years ago, the Red Hydrogen 1 brought out a titanium variant phone. iPhone and Samsung are bragging about that in 2024. Food for thought. Now, listen, we all know the good points had to end somewhere. And for the rest of the video, we're going to talk about why the Red Hydrogen 1 was ultimately one of the biggest flops in history. Reason number one, they lied. Yes, for your $1,600 price tag for the titanium variant and for the aluminium one, you were being promised modularity. Yes, you can see here on the back of the phone, the proprietary pins would enable you to add on modules like a microphone, lenses, other high-end camera gear that Red were going to design and manufacture for their hydrogen media line. But very quickly after people received their phones, this was scrapped, and our friend Jim resigned. Yeah, he'd done a bit of a run or two, took his money and left. And from that point forward, the Red Hydrogen was doomed. Software support ended within a year, potentially two. The version I have is stuck on Android 8. No updates, bearing in mind it was released with Android 8. And while we're talking about Android 8, can we just take a second to appreciate more recent Android iterations? For example, I don't think this is exclusively limited to the Hydrogen 1, but Android 8 doesn't have dark mode. You heard me correctly. No dark mode in the system settings. Android 8 doesn't have gesture navigation. You heard me correct. You have to use these ridiculous navigation buttons. And I know some of you out there actually use these and prefer these to this day, but you're just wrong. You're missing out. System navigation gestures are far superior. For some people, we can get past the modularity. Maybe they weren't intending on buying the attachment, because the Hydrogen 1's unique selling point at all times has been the display and the cameras. The 4-view camera, they're calling it, with its 3D photos, 3D videos, and 3D audio, which isn't actually too bad, as I discussed. This was meant to be game-changing, even though it existed in a much older HTC phone, but they had a whole library of about 20 videos and images that you could choose from. They had a whole network of people that could post their for-view content, like Instagram, which had about 300 users on it. Yeah, everything about it just failed, ultimately because the photos and videos in 3D were shit. Yeah, I ain't going to sugarcoat it. Sorry if you've watched to this point in the video and you're under the age of 12. Sorry if that's a bad word, but it is what it is. As you can see here, this is not good. And trust me, as much as 3D doesn't show over the video, it doesn't need to, because what you see is basically what I see. When I twist the phone left and right, you kind of maybe see a bit of 3D, but no, this is not good. If anything, the photos and videos that you take with the camera just look out of focus and blurry. And if you switch to normal mode without taking a 3D photo and video, the camera system is single. Yes, it's essentially a single camera. Yes, there's two, but they're both wide, and that's how they get the 3D effect. There's no ultra-wide camera, there's no telephoto camera. The same for the selfie. The selfie is two cameras, but again, that's just to do 3D. And the quality is suspect, to say the least. Now, Red included other apps that you could use. They had their own app store, I believe, which I can't get access to because it's no longer running. In fact, that goes for most of the apps, actually. None of them will work because they're out of date. There's no software support. They don't exist anymore. Now, again, this isn't Red's fault per se that they basically went bust as a smartphone manufacturer and they couldn't support the apps anymore. And I would not recommend that anyone goes out and buys one of these devices to actually use in 2024. But it would have been nice from a reviewer's point of view to actually show you what the App Store and other elements of the phone look like. So, what are my thoughts on the Red Hydrogen 1? Ultimately, I admire the innovation. Red tried to do something. Yes, it failed, but they tried. I am a huge proponent of foldable phones. You all know that. If you watch my channel, you definitely know that. If it wasn't for people trying to innovate and try something new, we wouldn't have foldable devices. So I applaud Red. Where they got it wrong was just with their implementation and short-sightedness. You cannot expect people to fall for your gimmicks and tricks and get away with it. Public are too caught and done. So, as mentioned, as much as I've used this for review purposes, I can't truly see my SIM card ever going back in it, but it will take pride and place in the Average Dad Museum. That doesn't exist at the moment, but who knows? If this channel gets bigger and bigger, which you can help with, 40,000 subscribers by December 1st, and you could be winning your very own foldable phone or any phone. Leave a comment in this video here, and you've got a chance to win on December 1st, if we reach 40k. Now, I know this has been a bit of a change of pace, a different video, and at this point, I'll be lucky to have 4 or 5 of you even watching to this point. But I wanted to cast a little light on what other manufacturers were trying to do 5 years ago. I will be doing more episodes like this. Think of it like a retro tech, like Michael Fisher or MKBHD tries to do as well. I ultimately love tech. It's phones like this and the original Z Fold and HTC phones, heck, even the Motorola Razr, that got me passionate about phones. So, yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this change of pace. If you've got any questions on the Hydrogen Red 1, let me know in the comments. And until next time.